Martha Setters, principal at Simon Kenton High School. Welcome.
Thank
Welcome. Seems like she's a far away. Go ahead, Martha.
Okay. I am really pleased to report to you the things that we are doing this year to improve our student achievement, and I'll go through a few of those things for you. I'm sure you know that you purchased for us the springboard materials, and we are working hard to implement those. I feel like overall our staff has embraced those and are doing their very best. Feedback from students does include that they definitely can tell there's an increase in the rigor and the things they are required to think and do. So we're really pleased about that, and we're learning along the way as we go. In preparation for end of course exams, our teachers have been to a few trainings to help them understand what is coming, to get the new standards and make sure our students are prepared for that. In addition, at Simon Kenton, we purchased the ACT Quality Core for the other subjects that are supposed to come online for the end of course exams in the future, to try to give our teachers and students time to realign and readjust their curriculum and standards so that we can be a little more prepared for those exams as they come online. We are still working on common assessments so that we can have feedback for the teachers so they'll know what they need to do as far as instruction goes to either reteach or speed up, slow down as far as the student comprehension goes. For open response questions, we are still using the live scoring techniques and trying to help students understand that they can achieve the highest level and what effort that it takes to reach that. Each department also has met several times this year, and each one has an individual plan for what to do to improve ACT and plan scores, to get the highest end of course exam scores that we can, and to prepare for on-demand testing as that has moved from the senior year to the junior year. And as we go through that, we are also offering to students not just what we're doing in the classroom to prepare for the ACT and plan, but we have after-school sessions that students have to pay a small amount for, but it's small group sessions in each of the 4 content areas to try to help them prepare as well, so they can get additional help if they need it. We also have an opportunity this year from the DeVry Institute. They are coming once a month on Saturdays and working with students, and it's a 5-hour training of how they can improve their ACT scores, and they can meet with like 50 students at a time, so we've had to group them, and they just go once, and the feedback from that, the students just took the test on Saturday since we've had DeVry come in, and the feedback from that has been really, really good. So now we're going to have some of our staff go in and learn from DeVry as well. So that's an additional, and it's free. It's an additional opportunity for students to increase their ACT scores. So those are some of the things that we're doing for Goal 1. For Goal 2, we are getting better using MAPS data to differentiate instruction. We still need to work on that goal as far as having such a diverse population in classrooms, the many different strategies that can be used to reach their learning needs. We have had students set goals for how they want to improve, and we're trying to do some rewards within the classrooms to try to encourage them to do their best. We have Read 180 for the students that are at this lowest level of reading as far as an intervention goes for them, and we just purchased a program called Alex, and it is a math remediation program that we're going to implement second semester with our lowest scoring group of freshmen and sophomores on the MAPS test. So that'll be our first. We've had success with Read 180 interventions for reading. Now we're ready to see what we can accomplish with math. So we're excited about that. It's the first time we've tried that. We are also trying to improve on our success data that will help us with our dropout rate and retention rate. Each quarter, we give teachers a printout of what their grade distribution is. We talk about interventions and things they can do to improve their instruction and work with students that aren't meeting the benchmarks. We also talk if there are any issues with discipline. We talk about that as well. This is our second year implementing KCSD, and definitely our discipline referrals have gone down, and our recognitions of positives certainly is on the increase. Our theme is we are SK, accountable, respectful, and engaged. We have that posted everywhere, as many places as we can find it, and we refer back to it, and we have specific, just a small number of behavioral goals for the entire school that we're all trying to follow. And so far we've had a very positive feedback from that. And we are also getting as many classroom visits as we can. On the administrative level, we try to visit as many classrooms in each day and week and month and semester as we possibly can. We're also trying to increase the staff at large, I guess you would say, understanding, and increase our teacher efficacy using the PPR. And we've had each department chair spend a whole day visiting their classrooms, members of their department, and working on feedback. The feedback they give has to come straight from the PPR and what they can help each other do. It's not part of their evaluation. It's simply peer to peer. Here's what I see on the PPR, and here's what we can do to grow individually and as a department. And that has definitely helped their leadership skills, but it also is often very well received from a peer as far as the feedback that they get. And then at the beginning of the year, we always have each teacher self-assess on the PPR. We develop their growth plans together. As soon as we come back from Christmas break in January, at our January faculty meeting, we will break into small groups and go over one more time, just as a refocusing what our growth plans were, what we were working on as individually and as a school, to try to bring focus back together of, okay, one semester down, now here's our big push, and here's what we're all working on together. So that's coming up in January. For goal 3, we are still working on our 100% school participation rate goal. We have added some new activities for students this year. I'm really pleased about these, and then some are in their second season, which we know will get more student participation. For example, last year was our first year to implement the Glee Club, and that was second semester. This year, we've started the Glee Club, and there were so many that tried out that Ms. Martin split them into 2 groups so that more kids can participate, and so we're really pleased with that. We started a jazz band after school. It has begun meeting already. You don't have to be in band class to participate in that. It's open to any student. So that meets every Tuesday after school. Last year we also started an intramural basketball program during the winter, and this will be the second season for that. And boy, the students love that one, and because it gives more than just 15 to 20 boys a chance to play. So I know that we'll get even more participation in that one this year. We also started a guitar club that meets after school. So we're trying to find a variety of activities, not just music or dance or drama, but more athletic as well. We've had a ski club in the past they haven't really done a whole lot, but it seems like this year they are doing more winter activities coming up. So we're trying to revive some of the things that we've always had them in name, but not really a whole lot of participation. And I think that's it for me. Any questions?
I have one that's really not specific to Simon Kenton, but maybe you can answer it for the county.
Sure.
When you guys do the common assessments, are those something that we're trying to do in all the high schools, so we have the same common assessment in every high school for the same class? Or is that just for Simon Kenton?
All 3 high schools do them, and they're all on the same standards. But because we're on different schedules, they're not exactly the same because it's different.
Okay.
Yeah, the timelines don't match up
Understand
necessarily.
that. Some quarters, some trimesters, okay.
Right,
So you are on quarters, and the quarter will end this week?
yes. So Wednesday starts semester exams.
Right. Okay. No, I don't think any other questions? Well, thank you, Martha. Thank you very, very
Okay.
much. Next on board is Dr. Brendan Sapp, principal at Scott High School. Welcome, Brendan, and this is your first time.
Absolutely. And thanks for letting me be
We're thrilled to
here.
have you.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me. I'm going to tell you a few things that we're doing at Scott. There's so much to do. I could go on for hours. Also, I would invite any of you guys to come out and spend some time with us. I know a couple of you guys have been out a couple times already, and we'd love to have you back. We've had a lot of visitors this year. You might remember Jeff Rakes, the Gates organization, came out and spent a day with us. We've also had Mr. Hanner out. Dr. Cook came out and spent some time with us, actually with Dr. Terry Cox Curry, and it was one of the more touching times for us, actually, because at staying a while at Scott and seeing the culture and how things are going there, she actually broke into tears at the end of her visit, and I'm not exaggerating. It was so friendly and nice, and so many people really reached out to her and had conversations with her about how things were going. It was amazing. And I do want to say we established a couple big rocks at the beginning of the year, and one of them was our culture, and and that we were going to be professional and polite to people everywhere we were at all the time. And we have made tremendous gains in that. One testament to that would be is if you talk to somebody this is their first year at Scott, it would surprise you, as it has a lot of people that they really talk about a place that's about kids, and people are friendly to them, and people are really trying to reach out, and we continue to try to do that. We are having a great year, and I mean that wholeheartedly. It's been a wonderful year so far. Our culture's improved. That's evidence. Actually, we give student surveys in all of our classes that reflect the same kind of questions that were on the Youth Truth Survey. If you remember, the Youth Truth Survey from last year did not come back in a very positive light, and so we actually did some purposeful measures to work on that. Student performance is up dramatically, and that's evidenced mostly by grade reports right now, grade distributions, and I'll talk about those in a minute. Also, classroom observations. Discipline is down. Office referrals are down more than 50% so far this year. We do keep a track on that, and it is because the staff and the students there are working really hard. I mentioned our big rocks, and part of that obviously deals also with instruction. If you don't have good instruction, the rest of it doesn't really help you that much. We are working really hard on the new literacy and numeracy standards. I will say my staff, my math and my English departments are doing amazing work on that. My math department actually does trainings for Gates around the country. We've had a couple visits even for people to come in and see our math teachers, how well they're doing with that work. Our English department is doing really well also. We actually recently had a couple of teachers in our English department that have been asked to take the training to be springboard trainers. They're doing so well for their first year. So just point that out. I mean, I'm really proud of those guys, how hard they're working and how that's moving forward. We also, our Read 180 program continues to produce more gains than just about anybody else in the county. Our Read 180 program is amazing. The teacher's doing a great job in there, and our kids are working really hard and making great gains, literally changing lives. We are working really hard on Tier 1 interventions. We kind of backed up because we had some issues with a lot of kids not being successful in regular classroom. So as you guys know, we're on trimesters. Trimester ended about 3 weeks ago, And this is data I've shared with my staff, but last year at the end of the first trimester, our freshmen were failing 24% of their classes. This year, that came in at 7%, the lowest percentage I've seen at a high school. Overall, last year, our failure rates were at 9%. Currently, they're at 5% for the first trimester. And to put that in perspective, I shared this with my teachers, that's about 500 classes difference. Even though it seems 4% is not a huge change, it is. It's about 500 classes passed. And I really attribute that to my teachers really pushing the kids to work and stay after them and make it all about the learning and not about anything else except for the learning. As I said, this one's down about 50%. We have started the first tenets of KCSD, meaning that we're really pushing ourselves to make discipline private and personal and positive. And you can talk to my teachers about that. We have talks about it all the time. We are really pushing walks, meaning classroom visits by the administration. As of this morning, when I checked with my 2 assistants, we're within about 50 of having 2,000 classroom walks this year already. Tremendous number. Additionally, I do PLCs twice a week with my staff, and the requirement is I'm not allowed to present to them something unless I'm presenting in a way that they would present to their kids also. So we're actually modeling a lot of the classroom procedures that we want them to use in class. Got walks. Also, I'm doing a monthly walk. I walk with English and math department heads once a month in classes so that they can get some feedback. And my assistant principals walk with volunteer teachers twice a month. They're actually doing that today, where if you walked in my building today, you would see assistant principals every period with 3 to 4 teachers walking into other teachers' rooms so they can see how it's going, provide some feedback, and start that conversation. It's going extremely well. We are going to expand that and keep that going, but it's really started a feeling of collegiality at the school. The teachers wanted it. They really enjoy it, and it's really started to build upon itself. We're doing several next generation movements. You might have heard of the Renaissance Academy. I know a couple of you guys came out and talked to those teachers that are working on that. That's moving really well. We're actually in the next month going to be advertising that to our students. We already have a large number of students asking a lot of questions about it. Actually, probably the second week after Christmas, we will be doing a teacher swap with Woodland to kind of help with that transition. Those Renaissance Academy teachers are going to go over to Woodland, spend a couple days teaching students as if they were in the Renaissance Academy, so they get a good feel for what that would feel like. And at the same time, those Woodland teachers will be with the freshman class to kind of see how their students have matured, progressed, and gotten better. So the teacher swap, we think, is going to be very beneficial. That's kind of the first step in that procedure. We also have senior projects going. We kind of piloted that this year. We weren't sure if we could get it going because it was so late when we got students interested. We got about 20 students that are really powered and ready to do some great senior projects. We have a teacher that's working with them. We've had to switch it around a little bit, but Ms. Fallbush is working with them now. And actually, Mr. Wickland has helped some with that as well. He's helped some of our senior project kids get ready to roll. We also hired a PR community relations person this year. She's a half-time position at my school, has been a tremendous help. You probably know that one thing we've wanted to work on at Scott is the fact that we needed to let people know all of the good things that are going on at Scott that just weren't getting out there. So she has came on, and we've gotten, I can't even tell you how many articles, newspaper stories, even video local news sets that she's gotten on board for us. She's also been working with some of the teachers and some of the students. She has 2 interns that do a lot of work for and with her. Her with the interns actually run the website, run the Facebook site, run the Twitter site, and usually facilitate about half of the PR that comes out of the place. We actually had one student that wrote a story on the nooks in the classroom. It went national. I had her look up that if we had bought the amount of circulation that produced, it was about $60,000 worth of circulation. Yeah, I mean, it really is amazing, and she continues to do some really great things. Actually, in the next couple weeks, we have a class of our Spanish students who go out to a local church and help translate and work with foreign language ELP families that don't understand the language and help facilitate them in life, and that's part of a class project. So we're actually going to document that, and we've got a lot of interest in that. It's really nice because we're not getting the PR for PR purpose. We're doing really cool things in the classroom, and the PR just happens to come along when somebody hears about it. It's very, very exciting. She also organizes our special events. She's working on a blood drive that's getting ready to start here soon. And she talks to a lot of business contacts for me to keep, to filter through them to decide what we should go, where we should go, and she has a very good grasp on the educational side of it. She's also going to start training my students in the front office for how to interact with people as they enter the building. We're planning on starting at the same time as we open the new entrance, which will be over Christmas, if you didn't know. Also, I have a group of students, the Superintendent Student Advisory Committee, that's working with my library on organizing a bookless library. We don't know that we're going to be totally bookless, but that's what we're talking about and researching and looking into. We may not be totally bookless, but we're trying to format a library that's going to be what we need 10 years down the road instead of 10 years in the past, and they're being a very interesting, great part of that. As I said, I could go on for hours, but I know we don't have hours. Come out sometime, and I will go over it with you for hours, because I would love to have some more people visit Scott High School. Thank you. Questions?
How's the construction going?
Well, the new entrance will be open over Christmas, and I've actually been in there. It really looks like it's ready to go the next day or two. So, that's only a couple months behind, so that's not too bad, but it does look extremely nice in there. We're going to have a discussion probably early January. We've got to figure out how to do the next phase and not lose all my computer access. That's our biggest question right now, because the new wing where they're going to start would cause me to lose all 8 computer labs at one time, which is not really doable. So we're going to try to figure out a way on that. But it's progressing nicely, and it's actually Mr. Wickland was with us once. He might have been down there too, but the staff is finally getting together and working with the construction people, and it's really awesome to see how the new construction and the new ideas of education and the staff are kind of molding together. It really has come together to where it's like, oh, have you thought about this? Oh, have you seen that? Oh, that's a great idea. Let's do it. So you're going to see a lot of really neat innovations hooked between the building and education.
Great, thanks.
We haven't had an update lately on that construction. Maybe next month have an update what's happening at our board meeting or whatever. Well, things sound good, Dr. Zapp. I was excited about your marketing, the senior projects, and all that. So I know you're.
There was one this thing I forgot to mention. Now that you say that, is our monthly attendance has been higher the last 4 months than it's been in years. So I mean, that's another nice thing for us to note. Those numbers that can't control directly, but I think is a reflection on the rest of you.
We all keep an eye on that. So
Yes, we do. Yeah.
Well, I thank you. Any other questions? Thank you very,
Thank
very
you.
much.
Okay, very excited to be here for Dixie Heights High School, and
Glad to have you.
thank you.
Go ahead. Start your.
We have the last year. It's been all about thinking like a colonel, and this year we've added Colonel Pride to that. And so my emphasis, certainly continuing what Kim started, is it's all about instruction and what is going on in the classroom. So that is where we continue to, emphasize certainly what we are doing. And I know you guys have our data. Certainly the math and reading are the two areas that we continue to focus on. Our math scores are not where we want them to be. And it is our staff's belief that with reading, even though our scores have gone up, kids have to know how to read, and if they can read, then they're going to be successful across the board. So that, I don't care what our scores continue to do, they could go through the roof, we're going to always focus on reading as far as, just that important. So from the standpoint of math, and really with reading as well, we have focused heavily on the implementation of Springboard from the standpoint of supporting our teachers, being in those classrooms as much as we can on a daily basis. There's some other things that I'll talk about in a second to help support that implementation, but we really feel strongly that is a key. It is a phenomenal curriculum. Yes, year one, it's a learning process for our kids and our teachers, but we really feel like that is where we need to go, and that is something both with the math and the reading that is certainly going to help once we get that to a point of everybody implementing that the way that it needs to and the rigor and relevance that it offers our kids. So that is a huge point of emphasis for us in those two areas. Certainly with our assessments, this was something we started last year, but getting our kids to see more ACT-like assessment questions and using those kinds of things, and that's really across the board. In our freshman academy, that's where we have focused a lot of our attention with RTI. There's weekly RTI going on, and that's been going on. That's not just this year in math and reading, and certainly we continue that. The one new thing that we have done and attribute this to, this is our year one of MAPS testing. We were not year previously started, so this is year one for MAPS testing for us. So from that, in trimester one, which we just finished, I had an extra teacher that I put in a position of kind of MAPS RTI. So from their first round of MAPS testing in math, we identified kids whose scores obviously were low. We were able to pull them out, put them with this teacher for about 9 to 10 weeks, and she worked with them on, RTI and math using a lot of online type things. And once again, I'm not suggesting that that's the answer to it all, but it was a first step to kind of pilot that kind of thing. That's something we want to continue to expand. In trimester two, we are doing a similar thing with students who are below benchmark on the plan. We were able to free up a teacher. We have what we're calling a college readiness class, and we identified students, these are juniors, but they were below benchmark as sophomores on the plan. And so we're able to adjust their schedule, get them into this class to where, once again, kind of a pilot opportunity for them to work on some remediation with this prior to them taking the ACT then this year in the spring as juniors. And we're hoping to expand that some more next year as far as these types of classes. Obviously, that'll depend upon resources and teachers, but some first steps in trying to address both, the MAPS data and, our ACT data and the students that are below benchmark. As far as reading, certainly Springboard I already mentioned. We continue our analysis of our critical reading pieces. We started this last year in the content areas to where on a couple of times a month we are collecting samples of reading pieces that our teachers are using in class, and looking at those, looking at student work that is connected to those, and then giving them feedback to see what types of things are they using in class, and once again the rigor of the types of text and pieces that they are using. And we've even this year expanded that to practical living classes and our arts classes. So that, as far as reading, that's another area. And then certainly the Read 180 and the System 44, we are looking to expand that if we can. Right now our freshmen obviously are using that. My goal was to see if we could get some sophomore students involved that maybe had been involved as freshmen but now are sophomores and still need some continued help. So that is something we're certainly looking at. And we realized last year in year one of Read 180 that we needed to refine some things and get a little better at it. And I think we've identified some areas where for improvement, and we've taken steps to where our kids are getting, I think, much more bang for their buck this year in year two of that. The last two things that I'll mention, this is year one for us as far as KCSD. We're up and running. We have our committee. They've been trained. We have a Colonel Pride initiative, which we have started, which is a school-wide positive behavior reinforcement thing, which is really taken off. The kids really like it. And I'm really pleased. Matt Moore, one of our new assistants, is heading up the KCSD and working with them. So I think that's certainly going in a great direction. And then the last piece that I'll share, as far as I think kind of an expansion and something new, we are really focusing on teacher learning walks. We really hadn't taken steps to where we were getting teachers out and doing, some walks with us until this year. So one of the things that we've already done, I used substitutes to get our math content lead, our English content lead, our social studies content lead, and I'm still going to get our science content lead to where they have an entire day to walk and into all of the other content classes. And we have somebody hooked up with them to walk with them. For instance, when our math lead went, Jenny Barrett came over and walked, with her. Gary McCormick came over and walked with our English lead. Myself and another assistant is walking with our social studies lead on Wednesday. So getting them out into all of their teacher areas so that they can kind of see what's going on, offer feedback, really trying to empower them as content leads and develop that role a little more. And then we're certainly expanding that to where each of my administrators and myself are going to have some teachers that we're hooking up with, just like on their planning period, to go and take them on a couple of learning walks with us into content areas that would be applicable, for them. So that's the other area that we're really kind of focus on the second half of this year and really try to expand on. So that would be what I would want to share.
Well, it sounds like you're busy.
Yes, I would think so.
The learning walks, I see a big number there, and then getting your teacher in them. I mean, I know all that has to be learned and becomes common practice. What else? Anybody else?
I saw a nice listing of things you were looking to do, strategies and action steps for Goal 3. Can you give us a little update on Goal 3 and where you are with some of those?
Well, one of the things that Mr. Moore-Wessel came over and met with Tom Spritsky. So one of the things that we wanted to make sure of as far as, kids and involvement, I mean, we have decent data, but I know we now have, as a part of Infinite Campus, the tab that, so we've got a process now where we're going to begin to go through and make sure that we get more up-to-date data as far as student involvement. And so we've got that in place. And we're also, we're constantly looking for and adding, new opportunities. We have a mock trial team that just was created and added, and so there's a variety of things there that we are constantly looking for new things and not just kind of the typical things, trying to look for some areas that, that other kids can get involved in. And so that's something that, and I'm constantly talking with our student vision team and our superintendent's advisory group, trying to get input on, some of those things as far as ideas and, trying to, constantly put some new things out there. So, I would say this year we've probably got 5 to 6 new things, that we have added to that, giving kids additional opportunities as far as Goal 3. And I think once we're done kind of with this survey and getting all of our up-to-date data input, we'll have a much clearer picture as far as kind of where we stand with total involvement.
You still have the Flapjack Club or the Pancake
The Flapjack Club did not, unfortunately, that one did not last. But I know that was that was a good one while it did. You could always count on some good food.
Well, I think you're doing a good job, and we appreciate you coming today. And
No problem. Glad to do it. Glad to do it.
welcome.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Jones and Travis, we're glad to have you. Go ahead and tell us what you have from Twenhofel Middle School.
Well, I'll start out by saying that we were very pleased with our test scores this year and how they are slowly coming up. We had some different areas where we're really using our map data to focus on the students at their specific RIT band levels. and what they are doing, and then our RTI is focused on using those writ band levels in specific subdomains. So the teachers are really drilling down into the data to group the students for their specific needs. We also had purchased Compass, and we're doing Compass on computers. Our reading classes and our math classes each have 4 computers in their classroom, so that they've got computer access if they can get any time during their regular math classes. We've got teams that are doing some Compass learning before school. The kids get off the bus. First bus is unload about 7:25. We've got one team of teachers that's taking their group of students into the computer lab from 7:25 to 7:45, even before the first bell for homeroom rings, to give them a few extra minutes 2 or 3 times a week to get on Compass learning. I feel like with Read 180, we've really pulled our kids' reading scores up, and those kids who were below grade level in reading have made some great progress. We currently have 2 Read 180 classes in 6th and 2 in 7th, and this year we added a class in 8th based on their elective schedule. So our 8th graders that are in Read 180 have Read 180 all year, but then they also have their 8th grade language arts class all year. So they get the extra language arts instruction, and they are in Springboard. Springboard has been a great addition. It's been challenging, and it is very high level, but I feel like overall, as we work through Springboard this year, next year, and the following year, once the kids, we get a whole group through 3 years of Springboard, I think it's going to make a world of difference. So I feel like we're on the right track with a lot of things that we are doing, and now it's just important to just keep doing it, keep focusing on what we're currently doing and what works without adding something else or trying a new program. I mean, I get emails daily of all the different, programs that we can sink money into, from a computer standpoint, a worksheet standpoint, all kinds of things. But I feel like if we use Compass, we focus on the MAP scores and divide the kids by their writ bands in specific subdomains, I think we just need to keep focusing on that.
Springboard start in 6th or 7th?
6th. Starts in 6th, and the kids who are in Read 180 have the Read 180 for language arts and then Springboard for math. But the goal is to get the kids up to their grade level in reading and then move them into Springboard as soon as they test out of the Read 180.
You say that students not being benchmarked will continue back to RTI.
Yes. We have a school-wide RTI.
How successful is that? How do you do that?
Well, last week, we did our winter map testing, and we had one particular teacher who did a breakfast bunch, and she took 10 of the lowest readers on her 7th grade team, and she sent invitations out to the parents and said, I'd like to meet with them every Wednesday from 7 to 7:30, and we'll do breakfast together. And she took their writ bands, and they were all working on something specific in their particular writ band. And she developed games and activities and worksheets, and every Wednesday during breakfast club they got a folder of things, and they started working on the folder together as a group, and working on the problems together and working on the activities. Then they took that folder home through the next week, and then the next Wednesday they brought it back completed. And of those 10 kids, we had 8 of them make gains, and 4 of them got to grade level.
Wow.
So they were very successful. We had a couple that didn't make as big a gains as they wanted to, but they still made gains. And what I've seen this year versus any other year before this was that we're specifically sitting down with these kids and saying, this is your MAP score in this. This is where you should be, or this is where, we'd like to see you if you're at grade level and so on. And they set their own goals. I think it's the ownership piece that we've been missing up until this year, that the kids, I think Travis had a kid one day last week who had something happen, like after school, he was upset about something, but he was upset because his map score wasn't what he wanted it to be.
Our teachers on the teams are having a friendly competition amongst themselves also for the percent of growth across the team, and the team with the highest amount of growth gets lunch cooked for them by the other 5 teams in the building one day each week in the spring. So if you're not the winning team in percent of growth, then you have to cook lunch for the winning team on one of the 5 days of the week. So they're enjoying the friendly competition with that.
We're all about food.
That's right, that's right.
We're all about food.
You know, these kids and knowing their map scores, and I know we go back to Mr. Hanner, and he wanted those kids to know their score right then, instead of a month from now. And I know that just seemed, competition goes with that too. So just really, really proud to hear that they're doing that and want to do that too.
We've had some technology glitches with the map testing and things like that, but each time I think we get a little better at it and figure out where the bugs are and handle them before we get the kids, into the computer labs. But it's worked out well. I feel like from a behavior standpoint, I know we've talked about the positive behavior instructional supports. We've done Love and Logic. This is our third year, and I feel like that the kids know the expectations, the teachers know the expectations. They just talk to the kids differently. We put a lot of the responsibility on the students. This is your behavior. You have to own it, good, bad, or otherwise, and what are you going to do to fix it? So they have learned that if I don't fix it, somebody else is going to, and it's
Right.
probably not going to be as pleasant than if I choose to fix it.
That's right.
So I
When
feel
get
like-
to this level, it's another story. It's in there.
Exactly. So I feel like that we've had a good run as far as behaviors. I mean, any middle school kid, they're going to do some silly things and make some poor choices, but they're not earth-shattering, life-altering choices. They're,
Right.
what can I do to fix this, and we get it fixed.
Anyone have anything else? Anything else?
On your walks, your professional practice on your walks, about half of your goal. Are you looking at any metrics to see what the impact of that is versus previous years? Or just where you're at?
I feel like that with our walks, I love being in the classroom, I really do. And if it wasn't for just like some days I can get in there and I'm just really getting down and spending a lot of time in classrooms. Other days, it's a little more difficult to do. But I do feel like that our discipline is better when the kids see both of us in the hallway. Travis is excellent about getting in the hallways between class changes. He's always in the hallways between class changes. So the kids know that on any given minute, you're going to see Mr. Caudell somewhere out in the hall. As we get into classes, I feel like that the kids, they enjoy us coming in. They like for us to see what they're working on. And I think they work harder. I think they work harder and they behave better.
Still an area where I would like to grow. I mean, I'll be forthcoming. I don't get into as many classes as I'd like to get into. I will say that, over the last 3 or 4 years, when you walk into a classroom, it's not as much of a disruption. Before, when I would walk into a classroom, kids would look and say, okay, why is Mr. Caudell in the classroom? What's wrong? Who's he going to call out of the room?
Who's in trouble?
And now you
Yeah.
open the door, and they just don't skip a beat. They keep on moving.
Ignore you.
They ignore me, which is exactly what I want them to do, unless I engage them in the room. But
There were a couple of kids that got a little panicked when 7 people walked in the other day because we had the Gates visitors and the kids were going, oh my, what are all these people? But even that, they handled it. They handled it. So they're used to, people being in and out.
What kind of
And
numbers do you have on discipline as compared to last year?
we're at about, we've cut it by about a third. And I'll take one area specifically that I'm very pleased with, that we've cut tremendously. 3 years ago, I would say that at this time in the school year, we probably had 25 to 30 willful misconduct, fighting infractions by this time, and I believe we have 3 at this point. So, I mean, if I take that one specific infraction, fighting, it's cut by an enormous amount. And I really think that's a tribute to our teachers and the approach that they're taking in the classroom, in the hallways with the kids when they're dealing with any type of infraction. The approach that the teacher has, and keeping the kids engaged in the classroom with meaningful lessons, I think that's why we've seen such a decrease in our disciplinary infractions.
We've also seen an increase in the students who will report other kids being hateful and not so nice. You know, if they see somebody being mean to somebody else, they will come to us. They'll go to a teacher. It's becoming more okay
Good tell.
to report it.
Are you doing anything special with the kids and the subject of bullying?
For one, I think
Their
that,
involvement is what I'm getting at.
first of all, I think they have to trust the adults that they're dealing with. And our teachers, and Cheryl and I, the approach we try to take when we're dealing with kids who are reporting incidences, the biggest thing I see out of middle school kids is a fear of being a rat, telling other people we don't want to be labeled as the rat. So we try to make sure that the person reporting to us knows we're not going to throw you under the bus. When we deal with the bully or the person who is alleged to have bullied, I'm not going to go back to that person and say, hey, Susie came to me this morning and told me that you said this or did this. We try to be very creative in how we deal with that person. We have a number of surveillance cameras in our building. If something happens in a hallway, I typically say, well, there's 150 kids in the hallway. When you do or say something like that, there are people that are going to hear you. If you're in a class with 30 people, it's real easy for me to say, there were several people that overheard a statement that you made. So I think the culture of trust that the kids have come to have with the adults in the building is the biggest reason that we're seeing an increase in reporting.
Have to be creative. Well, I think we're covered. We thank you all very much and wish you the best in the rest of the year. Keep it up.